So, the past 12 months have been quite, they've been quite amazing. I mean, in January I started things kind of not knowing really what sort of events I'd be covering. Not being too sure as to what direction I was going to take these vlogs in. Because bearing in mind, I got to a point where, I was enjoying them, but I wasn't getting as much satisfaction out of them as, maybe I should have, or whatever. But yeah, I'm at this point now where with every month, with every event, I've evolved my style in terms of how I edit these vlogs, how I portray these events, how I portray myself, how I promote everything else as well, like with the events and stuff. So yeah, it's been a process of learning and evolving. And I mean, I've done this not by watching YouTube tutorials or hanging out with videographers and them giving me advice. I mean, I did speak to one guy. I'm trying to remember which event it was. It was we were filming. Shed 10, and he was there just taking photos, and I only later learned that he was quite popular amongst the scene down in Midlands and down south, which was quite a surprise to me because I didn't think there was particularly anybody doing it. I mean, I knew there was photographers, I just didn't know there was people doing the video footage as well, creating after movies or sort of mini experiences and stuff. So yeah, it was quite interesting to learn of that. But yeah, speaking to him, he just gave me some good advice, and he helped me with the ideas really for this year. So and I hope you can see it through the vlogs, the evolution and the quality of the vlogs as well. I mean, I've still kept some of the grainy shots because I still want to keep that early 2000s feel to it as well. So even though we're like 25 years on from the early 2000s, I wanted to keep that vibe, that sort of that old reminiscent sort of vibe, which has carried off well really with these after movies. So regarding my gigs that I've had this year, I've only had about 6 gigs. There would have been 7th, but as you probably already know, with the storms in early December, I would have played 2 sets, one as Orbital Simian, one as Jay Middleton. I put the mixes online with the sets that I kind of was going to play. Not 100% sure whether they were going to be the actual sets or not, but they would just been a rough idea of what I would have done. But yeah, in terms of aliases and my names, I've had a few people ask about like, why do you have all these aliases and what have you. It started off the back end of last year where I was starting to get a little bit bored with playing Hard House, and I just wasn't getting the gigs either really. I mean, I wasn't too disheartened by it because end of the day, the industry is the way it is. It's competitive. You have to be better, or you have to prove yourself to be worth something. And so I started playing more like melodic techno and progressive, and then the Orbital Simian alias manifested. That manifested the back end of the year before, but really started coming out a bit more towards the back end of last year. And then with as far as VaderMonkey's concerned, what's happened there is Jamfest, I was asked to play the last set, if you will, like 5 till 6 in the morning. And as I'm a resident for Jamfest anyway, it was like, yeah, well, that's fair enough. And it actually was quite a nice change, really. Instead of playing peak time or early or warm-up sets or whatever, I mean, I was quite happy to play the last set. So I went back to what I used to do, sort of, we're talking like tail end of, start of 2009, tail end of 2012, start of 12, yeah, tail end 2012. I used to play sort of like a very hard techno sound, very hard tech sort of thing, kind of a crossover between tech trance, hard techno. At that time I thought hard house had kind of died with the dinosaurs, and obviously I rediscovered it through Face Vader, which I will tell you in another vlog, because I would love to do something on that. And yeah, I just kind of, the whole techno sound has really blown up over the past couple of years. And I mean, techno never really left the scene or whatever. It's just, it wasn't as prevalent. And I think through a bit of commercialism, it's become a little bit more mainstream. But the style of techno has kind of gone from the dirty, dark German techno that I used to remember to this kind of, it's not poppy, but you know, it's hard, it's heavy, but there is a bit of a commercial drive to some of the elements. But I actually quite like that sound. I actually started getting into it. So the whole Techno Monkey thing has come about off the back of, you know, getting back into playing techno and performing a techno set at Jamfest, and the response from that, as soon as I announced I was playing hard techno at Jamfest, the response was quite like, okay, there's people interested. And then towards the back end of the year, you know, I've been playing more regular hard techno stuff. And even just as recently, I mean, we were on the 23rd of December now, as I record this. And, you know, as recently, I mean, I've had a few radio stations over in Northern Ireland and Ireland play my hard techno stuff. So, I'm like, okay, so those two styles that I've been predominantly playing. VaderMonkey, there's been about 3 VaderMonkey sets. Again, finding my feet again with VaderMonkey. I'm back in the studio, and yeah, starting on a new album. I'm going to tell you more about that in a sec. You know, and just getting back on the horse with the whole VaderMonkey side of things. I mean, I've taken 2 years out from pushing VaderMonkey, from pushing the sound and whatever, and I'm at that point where it's like, right, I need to get back on the horse and just do it, but go at a more leisurely pace instead of really pushing it too much in front of people. And then there's Jay Middleton, the trance side of my world, if you will. I would have played a trance set earlier this month, but like I said, circumstances beyond control. As far as the trance side of things, I want to get back. I said this last year, I want to push the trance side of things a little bit more again for 2025, but I think, if I'm completely honest, I think the techno side of my life and the orbital simian side of my world are the two directions I feel as though I need to be pushing myself going forward, as far as the DJ is concerned anyway. VaderMonkey, I mentioned about an album. VaderMonkey's got an album coming out back end of next year. It's going to be a very different album. It's going to be the production is going to be a lot better, because I listened back to my 3 previous albums, and they're good, but the production quality is not fantastic, and I can see why there's not been as much. I mean, there has been people buying it and supporting it, but not. My standard now, through the people I'm working with, I'm at that point where I need to up my game, and I've been doing that, or I hope that I have anyway. So Welcome to the Raververse will be out. I'm aiming for November, but if I'm completely honest, it probably might get on towards December next year before it's finished. The reason being is because obviously I'm doing these vlogs. I'm also busy with the record label. As you know, I own and I'm brand manager for Ultratech Dance Music UK. And it's all go. It really is all go. So next year, as far as my DJing is concerned, I've got about 3 gigs definitely in the pipeline for next year. There are about 3 or 4 others that are possibles on the radar, but at the moment I've got 3. I'm quite happy, I'm quite content. If I'm completely honest, I'd rather not be playing every week, and rather not be playing every month, but you know, my main focus is these vlogs. It's not about my DJing career. I'm at that point where I've kind of made my peace of, look, I think the best of me has been and gone, and the best opportunities have been and gone. So I'm happy to take whatever I get, and like I said last year, everything is just literally a bucket list. So we go into another questionnaire for 2024. Some of these questions have been sent in. Some of these questions have been asked by other people that have watched the vlogs, but they didn't want me putting their names to the questions. They just, look, can you answer this for me and stuff like that. So we've got some very interesting questions this year. I've still yet to have a look back at last year's questions. I mean, a lot of those questions were from people that had watched or made suggestions, because I did say I wanted to do in a Q&A, but I wasn't getting as much feedback. But yeah, let's go into these questions. So, 1, what are your plans for 2025's vlogs? 2025 is going to be pretty intense before even this year's over and done with. The reason why I say that is the fact that I've now literally had to start scheduling vlogs. Literally, I am booked up now for attending events right through till July, which, if thinking back to last year, I didn't know where I was at with it. I was just showing up, I was doing these vlogs, people were liking it, people were enjoying it, people were like still a bit like that about it, but we're enjoying it. So yeah, the vlogs are having to be scheduled. Now, my rule of thumb is I have 2 vlogs a month, and which are financially viable to get to. Now, next year I do want to go further afield. I mean, up until now, I have kind of been playing it safe. So sort of like, Lancashire, Yorkshire, Midlands, Staffordshire, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Birmingham on some occasions, Leicestershire, those sort of areas I've been covering because they've been financially viable for me to get to, because I don't earn any money from these vlogs. So a lot of this comes out of my pocket. So I've had to kind of obviously look after my pocket doing it. But yeah, next year I want to go further afield. I want to cover more of the UK. I know there's a lot of events in London, but again, budget wise, it has to make sense for me to do it. You know, I'm happy to do South Coast, East Coast, Wales, South Wales, Liverpool, wherever people want me. I've got one in Bristol in July, and that's the furthest vlog I've got for 2025. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, next year is going to be pretty intense. Literally 2 vlogs a month. I'm starting January on 3 vlogs, one of which I've been roped into through no choice of my own. But end of the day, as long as I've got this regular content coming out for you, and I'm hopefully bringing in a crowd to these brands and to these areas, then I hope I'm doing my job right. Question 2. Why have you done vlogs on the same event brand more than twice? Right, like I said, I've been playing it quite safe this year. Reason being, again, to protect my pocket, but as well, the brands that I have covered are brands that I have been involved in some way or another. So for example, Blueprint, they've never had somebody do their media promo before. They have a great team of promoters. They've been around for 20 years, and they've had this, and they still have actually, this massive following and this support. However, obviously since COVID and whatever, the scene's not been quite the same, and they've been struggling themselves as a brand. They do these events like as free parties. I mean, like, literally, they pay for the venue, they pay for the equipment, they pay for the DJs, and the promoter takes nothing back. And the whole idea is to provide a party that people can enjoy and provide an environment that people can just escape to and just feel liberal and be themselves. So Blueprint have been doing that. And also as well, one of the promoters is one of the residents for my event, Digital Evolution. So, you know, it's kind of scratching backs, if you will, which does happen. I'm not going to shy away from it happening. And then you've got System Damage and Off the Rails as just other examples as well. In the past, it was Anarchy as well. Anarchy's on a brief pause, so there'll be more news about Anarchy at some point in the future. Off the Rails, I want to say that they are a lower end mid-tier brand. The reason being is they are known, they're recognised, they're reputable, they have a good support, great support network. They're in the best location in Sheffield, I mean, for trance anyway. A lot of that obviously was created off the back of Gatecrasher, but Off the Rails are their unique sort of brand. And I've really got to know Rich and Gav, and again, this is a brand that I really will fully get behind. You could argue, oh, were you showing favoritism to certain brands? No, I'm not. I'm getting behind brands that I believe in, and I believe in Rich and Gav's ethos much as I do with Ricky and Gary at Blueprint, and you know, and as well Jay Walton and his team at System Damage. System Damage have gone in a decent direction now, with them now putting events on at Emporium, one of which is very soon, but I can't make it, which is a little disappointing, but I want to get to more to those events. And yeah, and you know, these brands that I've mentioned, you know, I mean, they've needed the support in their own unique way. System Damage have been a fantastic brand, always been a fantastic brand. They've always had amazing lineups. They've got amazing DJs. They're always bringing breakthrough talent. They're great DJs themselves. And, you know, they've just needed that extra step, that extra leg up, and certain elements have let them down. Not their fault, it's just the way the industry is. And, you know, me coming along and doing what I'm doing has hopefully helped them. This move to Emporium, I think, will do the biggest, hopefully the biggest world of good for them, and hopefully they can move forward and become more of an established brand with a better following than what they already have. So, you know, these brands I support because I believe in them. I want to get behind them. You know, it's not necessarily about the opportunities they can offer me, because end of the day, these vlogs are about the scene, not about me. I keep repeating this, but I have to stress this point because there are a lot of people who just jump to conclusions. You know, and yeah, these vlogs where I've covered a brand more than once, it's because I believe in them. And on the dates of those events, there's not been anything else that I felt was worthy enough to support. Reason being is, you know, they were either big events or whatever, and you know, you need to. It's the smaller grassroots to mid-tier brands that need the support and need the exposure over the big brands. So yeah. Why have you filmed hard house and trance events? Mostly predominantly because that's the world I've been in for the past 10, 11 years. Like I mentioned, you know, I mean, I've been involved in the techno world and what have you, and also in the house and progressive world, mostly through my Vida Corona World DJ Championships back in the day. Yeah, the hard house and the trance events are the go-to events because hard house has gone from, I mean, a lot of the people that are into hard house are late 30s to mid to late 50s. And it was an era when, you know, raving was a big thing, and, you know, the hard house scene came about at a really good time. And there's people now whose kids have now grown up and moved on, and they want to get back to the world that they were in before they had a family and they settled down, or, you know, life has got more stressful as well. I mean, whether people believe it or not, you know, the world has got much more stressful, much more difficult to cope with, in some worlds, some parties, if you will. So hard house is this liberal, sort of free sort of world where you can just be as silly as you want, be who you want, be whatever gender you want, you can dress up how you want. It's a very liberal world, the hard house scene, and I cover these events because I feel as though they've got a lot to give to the club, you know, the club world, the rave audience. I mean, whether it was something that was never valued or something, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about there, but what I do know is, you know, it is a liberal and free world with hard house events. So I would support them, regardless of whether there's 20 people or 200 people. I would still support these hard house events regardless. Trance events, I cover these trance events because end of the day, when people think trance, you think big names. You think like your Armor Van Buren's and your John O'Callaghan's and your Will Atkinson's and so on and such forth. And trance is more than just the big names. You've got all these unheard DJs and this fresh talent, and the bottom line is, the argument is, yeah, well, DJs do all the same thing, whatever, and yeah, admittedly they do, but it's about how they do it. It's the energy, it's the journey, it's the feeling, it's the emotion, and with trance it's especially that. So I cover the trance events because these new upcoming DJs, artists, producers coming through need the exposure. And you know, it's creating that foundation for them as well, without, you know, directly, you know, I don't know what the best way of explaining that is, but it's creating that platform that they're already on, but I'm hopefully elevating it a little bit in the process. So that's why I cover the trance events. But it's not just hard house and trance events I cover. I've covered a couple of techno, well, a techno event, no, a couple of techno events. I do want to cover hardcore, bounce. I don't know with the house side of things, because house is quite commercialized, so I don't know with that one. I'll have to see how that works, but definitely with the harder styles and the faster styles I want to cover, even the hard techno events, the underground ones and stuff like that, I want to cover them. So yeah, that's my plan anyway. But yeah, it's not just hard house and trance. There are other genres, and you'll see this as of January next year. 4. What's your favourite event during 2024? Right. There's some events where you think you can't get out any better, and then something else happens and you're like, okay, right, that's the best event for this year, and then something else happens. For me, my favourite events of 2024 have been Shed 10 and Madhouse. The reason being is Shed 10, it was weird with Shed 10 because John Hemming, who owns and runs Shed, he'd seen the after movie for Meltdown's Halloween event last year, and he says, oh, do you fancy doing the after movie for Shed? And I'm like, yeah, all for it, yeah, definitely. Anyway, about 9 months later, and he checks in and goes, oh, you still want to do that after movie? I says, yeah, definitely. And he needed reminding of the vlog, that because it's a fast-paced industry. I totally understand. And the guy has a day job, and then he does what he does in the weekend. And I had to remind him what I did with the vlogs. But looking at the Meltdown vlog and comparing it to the Shed vlog, it's a completely different level of production. And the event itself across 3 rooms, I did a lot of legwork. I mean, I have to give credit to Helen, my partner. She did a lot of running around, and our feet and our ankles were raw. I couldn't move very well the following day, if I'm honest. And yeah, it was just a fantastic event, fantastic vibe. Proper old school rave vibes as well. It reminded me it felt like being back in the 2000s, even though it was obviously current times. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Shed 10 was just unreal. DJs were amazing. The interview with everyone was funny. It was a right giggle. I do want to do more interviews with promoters and that. I have asked about it. There have been ideas in the pipeline, but then things are manifested and it's not happened. But that's something I do want to do more of next year. A bit more sort of communication with the promoters and people involved. So then at least then I'm promoting them and putting them at the forefront. So yeah, Shed 10 was fantastic. And then there was Madhouse. And Madhouse was 1 room, but it was in an old mining facility, an old colliery. And when I thought, this was going to be a bit of a dingy sort of whatever sort of event, I show up, I look at the decor, I look at the layout, and I look at the building, and I'm thinking, holy crap, these guys have pulled something pretty special off here. And literally, as the day progressed, the vibe, the energy in that place was just brilliant. It felt like being in a 90s rave, albeit, you know, a bit donkey, hard housey at times, but it was just a vibe. I mean, hard house events are all about energy, and they're all about liberation and feeling and being who you are. But this event felt like a really, like a sped up house event. Really, it was really weird, because when you go to a house event, there's this kind of this vibe, this chillax, this roll sort of thing with it. With Madhouse, there was this energetic vibe, but the vibe was just so infectious. And literally, I mean, the weather was lovely at the start of the day, and then towards the end it was raining and quite dingy, and there was a few thunderstorms that had come over. But just driving back, you still had this feel-good vibe coursing through you from the event. And bearing in mind, totally sober, filming the event and everything. And yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, my two favourite events for 2024 have been Shed 10 and Madhouse. 5. Which DJ has stood out for you in 2024? Right. There's quite a few DJs that have stood out. Last year, I think it was Adam and Stephen Granger. This year, it was really good to see the old guard and the new guard. But the two DJs that have stood out for me, well, 3 actually. We'll say 3 because there's quite a few different genres. But yeah, the 3 DJs that have stood out for me has been 1, Pulsar. The lad's only 12, and I know a lot of people will be going, well, hang on a minute, in these raves are meant to be over 18 dudes and whatever. Before 9 o'clock, it doesn't matter what the age is, as long as, you know, he's not drinking or breaking licensing laws. After 9 o'clock, it's a little bit tricky. But the fact of the matter is, young Jay is in a world where his parents come with him and supervise him, and he's guided by very brilliant parents. He's got a fantastic influence around him, that lad. And if the lad stays on the path that he's on, the world's his oyster. And I don't think it will just stop at Hard House. I think it will go further than that. But that's up to him and his parents to discuss. But I've seen Jay now, little Jay Pulsar, at quite a few events, and I mean, I'd be lying saying I'm not jealous of that lad's ability. His energy, I mean, is so infectious. It's, you know, he brings this dynamic of just his presence of being there is just a vibe. The lad is just a ball of energy, and it's great that, you know, the next generation, I mean, the lad's got another 6 years before they stop asking questions about his age. And the fact of the matter is, the lad will, if he stays on this path, and I'm saying it again, but the lad stays on the path that he's on, he's going to pretty much take over. The lad is unreal. I mean, the way I see it is it's like what DJ Archie's doing for drum and bass, Pulsar's doing for hard house. And it's amazing to see. I mean, you know, there's 2 attitudes you can have, right? You could be a bitter, twisted, middle-aged guy going, oh, you know, they're getting kids DJ now, I should be playing, that's a wasted set, all that bollocks, because I've heard these conversations, and trust me, they're absolute utter garbage. And then you've got people who are like, yes, brilliant, you know, when I'm too old to do this, I know that somebody's going to keep the energy going and keep my world, what I love, going. And, you know, I'm on that side where I am excited about that, because I see the future of something that I've loved and I still love for 20 odd years be continued by a child in the next generation. And I mean, I use the word child. I know he's 12, but you know, the next generation. Bottom line of it, you know, when you've got an example of the next generation continuing something, it's refreshing. It's amazing to see. The lad is technically skilled. The lad is just, the presence is unreal, and he is quite well rounded. And like I said, I'll repeat this again, his parents are an amazing example. So it's just, what more can I say? Pulsar for the future. That's all I'm going to say. My other two DJs, I'm going to have to say Jake Surgery, or as he's commonly known, I've forgotten his bloody artist name. That's really embarrassing. But Jake Surgery, anyway, he's unreal. The guy's production is unreal. I can't get enough of it. This guy has been producing amazing tracks. His style of production is unquestionable. The energy of his tracks was just, he's just something else. He's just another level. And I think he's one of those that he's not a quiet lad, but he's understated. He doesn't rub it in your face. He doesn't make a point of it. He just shows up and does his job. And, you know, I find people like that just unreal. You know, Kid Dynamo, that's his artist name. I've had to check here. It's just, as a producer, he's just unreal. I love his production. I love his style. I love his energy. Hopefully I'll be doing a collab with him at some point, either this year, maybe in the future, I don't know. I'm yet to have a conversation with him. But yeah, I want to really give a lot of credit to him. Last year I'd heard of him, I'd heard a few of his tracks, I enjoyed his tracks, but I didn't really know enough to really hype him up. And now I've witnessed him, and this year's been a really great year for him. He really has stood out and shone this year, and he's got some opportunities, well-deserved opportunities off the back of it. So he's definitely a guy going forward. And then my final DJ, really, there's quite a few, but I'm going to have to say Lee Harker. Now, he's one of those that just comes in and absolutely wipes the floor clean. And he's got this energy, this persona. He's got this like, literally, if somebody was walking with a big beacon behind him, he's got one of them. That's the only way I can describe it. He's a fantastic not producer. I mean, I don't know if he produces tracks. I don't know. I need to check with that. But his DJing style, I've watched him at Trance Unleashed, and I've watched him at Future Force, and I've seen some videos and clips of him as well. And he's just a fantastic DJ. He's just got a great energy. He's got a presence, which you don't see with many DJs. I mean, like, Pulsar's presence is just electric. Jake's, Kid Dynamo's, is quite understated, but he lets the music do the talking. So, you know, that's his style, I guess. And then you've got Lee Harker, who just comes in like a ball of energy, and it's just like, pow. And yeah. So those are my three that stood out for me for 2024. Looking forward to seeing how they go next year. Adam's still on the scene, doing well. Stephen Granger, he had a good back end of last year, but he's now with Sunday Central, and I don't know. I don't know. He's still a great DJ. I just don't know if he still excites the floor as much as he did last year. So still yet to see with those. But yeah, those are my DJs. Anyway, kind of gone into a full-blown essay there. What has been your best moment in 2024? Oh gosh. That is a tough one. There's been a few little inkling moments. I don't know if there's been an actual big moment in 2024 that I've seen. Samurai showing up at Jamfest, absolutely smashing the arse out of it. But I was getting my head down for a few hours kit because I'd been up pretty much most of the night filming. But I needed to grab some kit. But they were doing an open deck thing the next day on the Sunday, and Samurai went on, and he made the earth move, I believe. But I wasn't there to really witness that. Oh gosh, this is a tough one. I think my best moment has been interviewing the Shed guys, because that was just utter chaos. Adam Dixon, the guy's a legend. The guy's a fantastic producer. He's a fantastic DJ. But when you ask him a question, you've got the saying, you go around all the houses. He goes around the entire housing estate before we get anywhere near to the answer. That's not a bad thing. It's just funny. But yeah, interviewing the Shed lot was chaotic. That was funny as, and yeah, quite enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. It was a proper giggle, and yeah, looking forward to future events with them, and hopefully doing more interviews with them, or maybe some, I don't know, some media stuff or whatever. I'll speak to John and see what he says. But yeah, I think the interview with the guys at Shed was, I think, my moment of 2024. And Adam was just kind of the the extended version. Definitely. What's more fun, DJing or making the vlogs? Right, tough one this. Making the vlogs is more challenging because sometimes some of the events are not always what the promoters expected them to be. And in a 2.5 to 3 minute after movie, I want to make that event better than it was. Now, people will probably say, oh, well, you're lying to us about this, that, and the other. And I'm not really, because at the end of the day, every bit of footage is as it happened. Every bit of footage is what happened there. And I've had a few DJs and a few promoters going, oh, yeah, but it looked dead and it was really dead. And I'm not too keen on it. And it's like, well, end of the day, I'm going to put it out regardless. Because that would otherwise mean that I've wasted a weekend going and filming an event that's dead. And you can't guarantee these events are going to be busy all the time. You can't guarantee it. The promoter could blow as much smoke up my arse as they want. But the truth of the matter is, they need supporting. And it's my job, or I've kind of taken it on as my job, as somebody showing it up, filming it, and then making it look better than it was, really upselling their brand, because that's what they deserve. They deserve that promotion. They deserve that hype. they deserve that support. And there's been 1 or 2 events where that's been the case, but the rest have been, you know, pretty decent numbers, you know, I mean, average to decent numbers, and I was able to get some decent shots and make more out of it than maybe I needed to. But it's about, the whole idea of these vlogs is to support a scene. It's to basically sell the scene to a wider audience, bring in a new crowd, bring in a new generation. Obviously, the more people that get involved with, you know, these vlogs and with these brands, the more they're going to grow, and they'll probably end up, hopefully one day, become a larger entity. And that's the idea with the vlogs. So the vlogs I find are more challenging. They're more fun to film, because there are some quite funny situations. There are a lot of people that are very look at me, look at me, look at me, which do tend to get a little annoying after a while, because they just have to be in every shot you take, and it's like, no, it's not about you, it's about the event, it's about the DJ, and they're really annoying. But you know, you can't avoid them. You're just going to make best of it. DJing, I still enjoy the DJing. I enjoy playing to a crowd, but it's only an hour and a half gratification, and for the sake of very little gratification, it is worth it. But it's like having a short buzz on something. So yeah, I enjoy it. I still enjoy DJing, but I see it differently now. I look at it differently. I experience it differently. You know, a lot different to maybe some people starting out or making the name for themselves. So yeah, I'm approaching it very differently. So out of those two, making the vlogs is more exciting. Right, question 8. You've been using cheap cameras. Will you be getting any better cameras in 2025? Right, well, I'm doing this on my phone, and trust me, that's not a cheap camera. So that answers that one. I have been using some like cheap 20 quid, like Goodman's, and then the odd maybe cheap camera through eBay or Temu. I have a GoPro Hero 4. The GoPro Hero 4 is great. I'm still trying to just figure out the levels of the exposure to get the best out of that camera. A lot of my filming, obviously when you're in the dark club, the exposure is quite difficult to really get the hang of. So getting the best shots is not always easy. I am looking at eventually getting like a decent SLR camera, you know, or a decent vlogging camera of, you know, that's capable. I mean, a lot of people recommended that I get the Sony something or another, AZ or whatever it's called. So I am looking into getting a better camera. Filming these vlogs on my phone has taken its toll on my phone. I'm not going to lie, this phone is absolutely battered. But at the same time, you know, it's providing this quality content that you guys enjoy. So yeah, the Goodman cameras, one thing I've noticed and one thing I will say is the older Goodman cameras I had, they were more reliable. They were pretty solid. I just bought 3 newer version of the Goodman cameras, and 2 of them are rubbish. They're about as much use as a chocolate fire guard, which is quite disappointing. The reason being is I needed some of the cameras to be on a constant power source and still film, and I've done this with the 2 new Goodman cameras, and literally they won't even switch on now. So, and I've only had them like a matter of weeks, which is quite annoying. So yeah, I'm going to be experimenting with other budget cameras. over 2025, because doing this sort of thing shouldn't be expensive. You shouldn't be forking out £200-300 for a camera to do something that, you know, it takes a matter of moments to do with a cheaper camera. Admittedly, I'm able to negate sound qualities with my phone and these mics and stuff like that. So it's just figuring out how to get the best out of sound quality with those cameras as well. I'm still learning on the job. This is a hobby. It's not a job. I know I've used the word job, but it's not a job. But yeah, it's hopefully I'll get better stuff. One thing I do want to get for 2025, fingers crossed, is an Insta360 or something similar, because I feel 360 shots in the crowd are pretty cool, and I think they would go down really well in the after movies. Just an idea. Will you be playing at future events and vlogging them? The answer to that is yes. There are 3 vlogs on the cards, definitely. One of which I can't really announce too much about. But all I can say is it's in September. April, I'm not 100% sure I'm playing at that one. My name's on the roster for playing, but it's the first relaunch event for Digital Evolution after 5 years. So I'm kind of at that point where I'm a little bit like, well, it's not about me, you know what I mean? It is my event, so I don't have to play at it. So I'm on standby should I be needed. I probably might do warm up, you know, do the first hour, might do a 5 till 6 or something, you know, just get things going or whatever. But yeah, and then depending on how well things go, depends if I play the last hour as well. So I'll figure it out, and that'll be good. The other one is Ultra Awakening in Retford on the 7th of June. It's record label clash event, so Global Awakening Records versus Ultra Tech Dance Music. Should be a great event. We've got an amazing headliner yet to be announced. Amazing DJs as well. I'm doing the back-to-back with Adam Donnelly, but under his Energetic artist name, so it's not a full set. I'm just doing a back-to-back in that one. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. There are about, to my knowledge off the top of my head, there's about 3 or 4 others in the pipeline, not confirmed. Reason being is, you know, it's a case of they haven't got me on certain events, but they may have me on the later events, or they're still waiting to find out more details of what's happening with that event. So either way, you know, I'm in the loop about a few, but those are the main ones I'm vlogging anyway. April and June's event. 10, final question. How many episodes of the vlogs will you do before you decide not to do them anymore? If I'm going to be honest, until I get bored, basically. This is something I didn't really envisage myself doing. This is something completely different to what I have been doing for years, and like I said, I didn't think it would take off like it has. I didn't think things would go the way they've gone. I just thought he'd just be treated like as some other wannabe trying to be something he's not, or whatever. But then at the same time, it's like, would I have stopped if that was the case? Not really, no, because there's no better promotion than self-promotion anyway. But at the same time, you know, promoting other people to help you establish yourself in something that you're trying to achieve is also beneficial. So doing these vlogs, the attitude is to benefit others. Whatever I achieve out of it is just coincidence really now. For me, everything's a bucket list, so I'm not really too fussed. But it's just about creating a consistency with a scene that I love, bringing back the media excitement around a world of where, like, you can go somewhere one weekend and then you can watch it again and talk about it the following week, and then 2 weeks later or a week later, depending on where I'm at or what's happening, there's another vlog and you're talking about that event. And it's about conversation and getting people supporting these events in a more positive light as well, instead of just going, I was there, yeah, it was alright, saw a few mates, a bit shit, and then going to another event going, oh mate, you know, absolutely amazing, but they were completely off the box. But you know, I mean, it's about promoting a world that needs supporting. That's the bottom line of it. It started as shit, and I repeat this again, and I've said this loads of times, and I do apologise. It started as self-promotion, shameless, unadulterated self-promotion. Look at me, I'm trying to be something. And then I realised, like, alright, I filmed Phil Face for a vlog, and that went well, but the response from the after movie was quite positive. So I did it again for, I can't remember the event, and the production for the after movies has improved, because I've learned a lot, learned some new techniques, and you know, I've just learned that it just needs to be upsold, it needs to be made exciting, and the younger generation, you know, need to be excited by it, and that's what I hope I'm doing with these vlogs. So yeah, that's the bottom line of it really. I'm going to keep doing these vlogs until I'm bored or I'm physically unable to do it. Next year I'll probably be looking for a videographer assistant, because doing it on my own now is getting to be quite a challenge, and I feel as though I need an extra set of hands to do this content. So anybody interested, hit me up, drop us a DM on my socials and everything, and see what we can sort out. Right, so thank you for the questions. This year has been an amazing year. I've repeated this quite a few times already on this Behind the Vlog. It's been quite challenging. I didn't know how this year was going to go. I didn't know where I was going to go with this vlog, with these vlogs, whether this behind the scenes thing was going to be worth doing or not. The reason why I've done this on this channel is I want to concentrate the main vlogs on the channel that they are, and this channel to be more of, you know, understanding what it is and why it is I'm doing it. I just want to thank everybody that has subscribed to the VaderMonkey Vlogs channel, to this channel. The support for from everyone. The people that I've met at the events and support that I've got from them, the hype that they've given me and the support they've given me on Facebook and other social media platforms. It's just been really humbling. I say humbling because I don't think I'm anything amazing doing this. I mean, I'm in a world where I feel like I'm still out of my depth, but I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the fact that you guys are enjoying these vlogs and, you know, want to be a part of these vlogs. So yeah, it's brilliant, and I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. As of now, really, I have set up a Patreon page. The reason for this is to cover my costs, because as you as I've said, I travel all over the UK, and even though I drive a car where it's not too expensive on fuel, it does come out my pocket, and you know, it's got to a point where it's not as manageable as it was last year. This year is now a case of I need to recoup some of my costs back. I've had a lot of people suggest to me that I should be getting these costs off the promoters, or whoever I'm covering, and my answer to that is it's just not fair on them. Yeah, they could be making money on the night, but then they could be losing a lot of money. These promoters fork out a lot of money to make these events happen. Some of them do these events as free parties, so they don't take anything back. And it's unfair of me to just show up and put my hand out and go, oh yeah, right, well, I'm doing this vlog for you, can pay me whatever for it. It's just not going to happen, and it won't happen next year. So I've set up this Patreon page. There's 3 levels of subscriptions. So £3 is just kind of, you get sort of like advanced previews, you get like first refusal on merch and stuff like that, anything to support the channel and these vlogs. The second tier is £6. You get a little bit more with that as well. You know, I can arrange, discounted or free tickets to certain events as well. But I'll be doing them in the form of competitions, but those that are on the middle tier and the higher tier will have automatic entry, won't cost them anything to enter. Anybody on the lower tier that wants to enter, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'll work that out as I go along. And then obviously merch, free merch every so often as well, as a token thank you. And yeah, just a way of appreciating you guys, and thanking for the support. The highest tier at £9 a month will be much the same as what you get on the lower tiers, but also as well, your name will, I'm going to start putting credits at the end of the vlogs now. So after I've done my review and everything, I'll be crediting people subscribed to the Patreon on the higher tier, so your name will show up on the screen as somebody affiliated or somebody supporting these vlogs, so that everybody else knows that you are a supporter of these vlogs. And also as well, in the middle to upper tiers, I'm going to be offering advice if you want to get into doing event vlogging or just any form of YouTubing or social media or content creating. I'm going to do some sort of like some basic sort of help videos and stuff, but they'll only be exclusive on my Patreon page, not on my YouTube. So yeah, the more people doing what I'm doing, I think will be better for the scene. Yeah, it'd be great me doing all the events, but I'm only one human being. There's 52 weeks during the year, and I'm probably only going to cover maybe 21 of them, 22 if I'm lucky. At best, probably 25 vlogs a year. That's the aim for this year, to get to 25 vlogs. Or do 25 vlogs and get to within the 50 mark. So then I'm halfway to a century within 2.5 years, which that on its own is an achievement. So yeah, it's appreciative, and if you can support my Patreon, if you can subscribe to my Patreon, it'd be much appreciated. The subscribe on YouTube is far more important, because the more people that subscribe to the channel, obviously the more we can spread the word. But in terms of financial support, I'm having to go down the Patreon route. I do have sponsorship from W Energy, but I'm currently reviewing that situation, because that's not been of any financial benefit, or if any, if much, this year. And yeah, I'm going to be looking for more local UK sponsors, ideally market specific, so within the music industry, club, rave industry and stuff like that. So anybody who's interested in sponsoring the channel, please get in touch. All of my links and everything are in the description box below. So future vlogs, I'm going to start on the 18th of January. That's going to be antimatter at VaderMonkey's in Leeds. 3 rooms of pretty much everything, mostly hardcore and upper realms of dance music, if you will. We've got some special guests come over as well. It's going to be well worth it. Tickets are on Skiddle. Get your ticket now if you haven't already. It's going to be an amazing event, and it's going to be well worth your time, money and effort. So that's Antimatter at VaderMonkey's in Leeds. Get your tickets on Skiddle on the 18th of January 2025. The next vlog after that is Orgasmic at the West Indian Centre in Leeds. That is a free event. Again, I think 2 or 3 rooms of hard house, psytrance, techno, and everything in between. It's going to be an amazing event, great lineup. I'm quite excited. This event, excuse me with the mic. This event I've been roped into. Hadn't planned on covering this event, but I've been roped into it, and because there's a few other business matters involved with this event as well, I thought I may as well go and check it out, give you guys a vlog and show you a free party, how it's done, where you can just be liberated and emphasize the word on plur, P-L-U-R, peace, love, unity and respect. So that's Orgasmic at the West Indian Centre in Leeds on the 25th of January, and it's free entry. And then we move towards the end of January, 31st of Jan, and that is Off the Rails Trance Classics. Main room is Off the Rails, second room is Meltdown. Classics in both rooms, great energy, great venue. There's an amazing pre-party in the pipeline, so hopefully I can get some footage on that one. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing evening. It's going to be an amazing event. I've covered OTR quite a few times last year, but as we're going to 2025, it's a fresh slate, so I'm covering them on this one. And Rich, Gav and the team well and truly deserve the support. Tickets are on the website at otrchef.com, or you can get them through Skiddle, but it's best to go through the website. It just helps them be aware of numbers. And yeah, it's going to be brilliant. So that's Off the Rails Trance Classics at Fez in Sheffield on the 31st of January. And get your tickets via their website at otrchef.com. So all that's left for me to say is please like, comment and subscribe. And the subscribe is especially important. Please also join the Patreon. Please subscribe to the Patreon, because end of the day, without your support, these vlogs, they're already becoming a challenge to do, and it requires me to pay costs to go to these events. I know some people will say, oh, well, you get into some of these events for free or you're part of the staff. Yeah, but it still doesn't cover my fuel. It doesn't cover accommodation, let's say, if I have to travel quite a considerable distance. I know there'll be people out there offering me to put my head down at their gaff, well, situation depending, whatever. But end of the day, the idea of the Patreon is to give more than what I receive. And yeah, I appreciate the support so far, but end of the day, subscribe and joining my Patreon is equally as important. And moving forward into 2025, I want to do this better than what I've been doing this year, and hopefully take it up a level and make it really worth your while to watch these vlogs if you truly believe in what it is that I'm doing. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next vlog. Well, I've got next behind the vlog, which is going to be pure VaderMonkey vlog after movies, which is going to be brilliant, and that's going to be on New Year's Day. And yeah, thank you again, and I will see you all for vlog 32, and that will be Antimatter. Anyway, ciao bien, in a bit.
Lagging whilst gaming? Out of steam after a long day at work and you want to go out raving? Or just need something to get you through your grueling day? Dubby Energy, a healthier alternative to the off-the-shelf brands. Dubby is packed full of the important aminos and vitamins that canned energy drinks don't provide. This product doesn't contain artificial additives and is also sugar-free, maltodextrin and keto-free. One tub on average is cheaper than consuming 2 cans per day of the off-the-shelf brands. Order your WNG via their website at w.gg and use my promo code VaderMonkeyJ to get yourself 10% off your order. Keeping yourself energized doesn't have to be unhealthy.